All right, everybody, buckle up because today we're taking a deep dive into a world driven by steam and imagination.
Oh, I like the sound of that. Tell me more.
We're talking about The Steam Walker by Todd McCaffrey, and get this, we're going right to the source, the novel itself.
That's what I call getting up close and personal with the creative process. So what's this Steamwalker all about?
Well, picture this, 18th century Scotland, a time when innovation was brewing, but with a steampunk twist.
Okay, now you've got my attention. Steampunk and 18th century Scotland. What a cool combination.
Right, and at the heart of it all is our main character, Danni Walker. Now, forget those stereotypical images of ladies from that era.
You mean like sipping tea and embroidering?
Exactly. Danny should rather get her hands dirty, tinkering with gears and gadgets. This is a woman who defies expectations.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it. Back then, women were often stuck in those traditional roles.
Totally. But Danny's passion for engineering, it makes her a pioneer. And speaking of pioneering, let's talk about the invention that gives the book its name, the Steam Walker.
I laid on me. How does one even begin to build a Steamwalker?
Well, it all starts with a classic Newcomen steam engine.
Ah, the Newcomen engine.
Yeah.
A game changer in its own right. Using atmospheric pressure to push a piston, creating a vacuum. Ingenious.
Right. Though not exactly the most efficient contraption.
True, true. A bit clunky and power-hungry, if you ask me.
And that's where Danny's brilliance shines through. She sees the potential.
Ah, to see the world through the eyes of an innovator, what did she do?
Well, take the water cooling system, for instance.
The original Newcomen engine. Drank water like it was going out of style.
Right. You got it. But Danny, she designs a closed-loop system, making it way more efficient.
Now that's thinking ahead. What else?
And because safety always comes first, she adds a pressure release valve. But you know what really blew me away?
Let me guess. It has something to do with making this massive contraption actually move.
The legs. Seriously, how do you make something that heavy walk?
A question for the ages. I'm on the edge of my seat. How did she do it?
Get this. She finds inspiration in the most unexpected places, spiders and rowboats.
Spiders and rowboats. Now that's thinking outside the box. How in the world?
Exactly. McCaffrey does an incredible job describing how she combines the way spiders move their legs with that rowing motion of a boat. Talk about ingenuity.
Pure genius. I can already tell this Danny, she's a force of nature.
Oh, absolutely. But just as her steam walker is finding its stride, things get really interesting. Imagine this. A public wager against a rival blacksmith.
Ooh, a showdown. I love it. What were the stakes?
Bragging rights, of course, but it quickly escalates into a battle for innovation supremacy. It becomes this huge spectacle, a testament to human creativity and the relentless pursuit of progress.
It reminds me of those historical technology races, like the competition to build the first airplane or the race to break the sound barrier. Human ingenuity at its finest.
And get this, just when you thought this steampunk showdown couldn't get any bigger, enters Prince Charles Stuart.
Oh boy, talk about upping the ante. What's a prince doing in all of this?
Right. It's here that McCaffrey cleverly weaves in actual history. We're talking the Jacobite Rising of 1745, where Prince Charles tried to take back the British throne.
Now that's a history lesson I can get behind.
Yeah.
So how does a steamwalker fit into a rebellion?
Well, when Prince Charles sees Danny's invention, he sees something else. Military potential.
I bet. Forget cannons and muskets. This thing's a game changer. It makes you think about how tech has always shaken up warfare.
No kidding.
Take the stirrup, for instance. Might seem simple now, but it revolutionized fighting on horseback.
You're right, you're right.
And don't even get me started on the cannon.
Yeah.
Talk about a siege breaker. Danny's walker's got that same earth-shattering vibe.
Totally. So imagine Danny, plucked from her workshop and dropped right into a rebellion.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of pressure.
She's gone from tinkering with gears to building war machines. Gotta come with some heavy ethical baggage, don't you think?
No doubt. Pushing the boundaries of steam power, that's exciting and all. But those creations, they're going to be used in battle. People are going to get hurt.
It's a heavy weight to carry, that's for sure. And as the story goes on, you see it wear on Danny. McCaffrey doesn't sugarcoat the realities of war. Danny faces heartbreaking losses. Her father, her brother, even her friends. It's a harsh reminder that even in a world of fantastic inventions, conflict has very real consequences.
That's heavy stuff. Does she ever talk about how she's feeling with all this going on?
There's this one part, after a particularly brutal battle, one of her fellow soldiers, Jamie, tries to comfort her. He says, "It will all come right in the end. You'll see."
That's kind of him. I wonder what she says back.
Well, she's pretty raw about it. McCaffrey writes, "Nothing will happen," I snarled. "Bullets will be flying, Jamie, or did you forget?"
Man, that line hits you right in the gut. Clearly, she's grappling with this internal struggle. Her love for inventing and the devastation her creations are causing.
It's a lot to process.
But even with all that loss, her spirit doesn't break. If anything, it fuels her creativity. She really throws herself into her work, making even better walkers.
Like the trotter, right?
The trotter, oh yeah, now there's a machine ahead of its time. The first walker was impressive and all, but this thing could really move.
Like comparing a horse-drawn carriage to a steam-powered race car.
Now you're talking. But it wasn't just about speed. The trotter had some incredible new features too, like this kneeling mechanism.
Wait, hold up. A kneeling walker. That sounds like something straight out of science fiction.
I know, right? Basically, the walker could lower itself for better stability, becoming a way more effective gun platform.
Imagine this thing crouching down like it's about to pounce. Pure genius.
It really shows how Danni thinks outside the box. She isn't just building machines, she's inventing new ways to use them on the battlefield.
Absolutely. And as the war rages on, tragedies pile up, but Danni's commitment to her work never falters.
It's like she's outrunning the grief by losing herself in her inventions.
And that leads to one of the most intense scenes, the Siege of Carlisle. Disguised as a male lieutenant, Danni's on the front lines, commanding a walker right in the thick of battle.
Talk about a baptism by fire.
Seriously, she's gone from workshop tinkerer to battlefield commander. What a transformation.
It's amazing, really. It shows how courageous and adaptable she is. But it's also a turning point. It's not just about the machines anymore. She's responsible for the lives of the men operating them.
That's a heavy burden, especially with everything else going on.
No kidding. And during this siege, tragedy strikes again. Another walker captain, seeing that Danni is about to be caught in an explosion, sacrifices himself and his machine to save her.
Oh, wow. That's just heartbreaking. Even in the midst of all that chaos and violence, there's still selflessness.
Absolutely. And this loss, on top of everything else, it sends Danni over the edge. She starts questioning everything, wondering if her creations have done more harm than good.
So what happens next?
Well, the war ends with the prince's forces winning, but in all the chaos, Danni is presumed dead.
Wait, presumed dead. What happened? Did she die?
Injured and emotionally spent, she decides to disappear, vanishes into the city, leaves her old life behind, even takes on a new identity.
She faked her own death. Wow, that's a bold move.
It really speaks to the depths of her despair. She's lost everything and everyone. Faking her death, it's like her way of escaping the pain.
It's more than just running away, though, right?
You're right. It's about finding a new path. She realizes that inventing weapons, it's not her true calling. Her passion lies in using her skills to make life better, to build a brighter future.
So she's not giving up on inventing, just redirecting those talents towards something more peaceful.
Exactly. And that's where the Steamwalker leaves us with a glimmer of hope. Even in the darkest moments, human ingenuity can be a force for good. It boils down to the choices we make.
Powerful stuff. It's like even with all that destruction, that spark of invention, that desire to make things better, it can still shine through.
And that's what makes Danni's story so inspiring. She could have just given up, let the grief eat her alive.
Yeah.
But she chooses to use her skills for good. Makes you wonder, what's next for her now that she's free from the war?
Right. McCaffrey teases us a bit, hints at some of her plans, maybe a steam-powered printing press, or even a whole network of steam carriages, moving people and goods faster than ever thought possible. The possibilities are endless.
It's mind-blowing, really, and it gets you thinking, if you had Danni's ingenuity, what would you create? Something that makes everyday life better, tackles those big global issues, or maybe just something totally wild and unexpected.
That's the beauty of the Steamwalker. It stays with you. Makes you think about innovation, the responsibility that comes with it, and how we choose to use our knowledge and talents.
It's a story about that unyielding human spirit, the drive to push forward, to always be creating and exploring and striving for something better. And sometimes it takes going through incredible challenges like Danni does to really see what we're capable of.
Well said. So there you have it, folks, our deep dive into the Steamwalker. We met a truly remarkable character, explored a world on the cusp of a steam-powered revolution, and really grappled with some big questions about technology, conflict, and the choices we make.
And this was just a taste. McCaffrey has created a world so rich and intricate with twists you won't see coming. If you want a story that stays with you, that makes you think, I can't recommend The Steamwalker enough.
Couldn't agree more. And on that note, we'll leave you with this. What will your legacy be? What will you create, invent, contribute to make the world a better, more fascinating place? Until next time, keep those imaginations running wild.